Okay, the second competency in cluster D is the handle carpentry materials, because you're basically doing formwork. So it's a carpentry competency. 4 elements again, similar performance criteria, but I will go through them because there are slight differences. So the first element, like I said with most things, plan and prepare. First criteria for that is that work instructions and operational details are obtained, confirmed and applied from relevant information for planning and preparation purposes. Where are your plans? Okay, have you got plans that show where the formwork should go, what sort of material should be using, how big the formwork should be? All of that information is what you're basically performing to show that you can find that information. Safety OHS requirements, this is the second one, are followed in accordance with plans and policies. Okay, so you're planning to make sure that you're going to have all your safety requirements done, signage, barricades, proper high-vis, proper PPE, all of those sort of things. So that's basically that as part of the planning stage. Third one, signage and barricade requirements identified and implemented. So those two kind of go together, but it's a bit specific. So you're saying, well, I've got to make sure I've got the signage to say this is a construction site, that no one can enter unless you're part of it, and that there might be excavation going on, all those sort of things. 4, tools and equipment selected to carry out tasks are consistent with the job requirements. Check for serviceability and faults rectified and reported prior to commencement. So you're making sure that you have all the hammers you need for driving in formwork, that you've got your power saws for cutting formwork, or you've got your hand tools for cutting formwork, and that the saws are sharp, serviceable. You might be using a drop saw. Is it battery operated? Is it power electric operated? If it's electric, the cord's okay. Most of the time you'll see cordless drills around on site now, so you don't have to worry about cords. But are the batteries good? Has the drill been dropped? Do the batteries punch it? And I'm asking that because that's happened to me recently, where a drill dropped off a piece of framing, landed on a screw, and when I went to use it, I felt the screw, checked it, it had actually punctured the battery. So that battery is basically no good anymore. I would not want to throw that onto a charger. So checking things that are serviceable, and that if they aren't serviceable, that you are identifying what needs to be repaired, who needs to be notified. 5, material quantity requirements are calculated in accordance with the plans. This kind of goes together with the formwork one, but it's part of the carpentry thing. You're going to calculate how much formwork material you need. Are you going to be just using 2x4s, 2x6s, 50 by 100s, or that's 35 by 90s, 50 by 150s. They're the sort of sizes that you might find for formwork. If it's larger than that, you might need to go, I need to use form ply. How much form ply do I need? At what sort of width to make my full formwork out there? So you'll have to do a lot of calculation in there. If you go, here's my total perimeter, here's the height of the formwork, how many pieces of formwork can I get out of a sheet of form ply? So how many sheets would I need to have to create the formwork for this job? You want to know that you want to plan for all that before you get onto site. Criteria 6, materials appropriate to the work application identified, obtained, prepared, safely handled and located ready for use. Okay, so the performance criteria before that was that you can plan for all of that. The second part, the next performance criteria, is that you actually order all of that and that you've got that on site ready to use. So it's all part of the planning and preparing. Last criteria, your environmental requirements are identified for the project in accordance with plans, environmental plans, statutory and regulatory authority regulations, and they're applied. So again, what sort of regulations do you have to abide by for the area you're working in? For the state you're working in, that can change. For the council you're working in, what sort of runoff would you need to make sure that you're actually planning for when you're getting ready to use your carpentry materials here? Do you have to abide by sound regulations, so not working outside certain times? That can be an issue in some areas, especially areas where they might put sound restrictions on weekends if you're working into the Saturdays, all that sort of stuff. That's all the performance criteria for plan and prepare. I'll get ready to do the second one.